And so I just want to thank everyone for coming on a Sunday afternoon. I know we planned this, a couple of weeks ago, but even so, it's tough, and I appreciate that. And nice to see that we have a couple of other folks who are non-commissioners with us, joining us. And I think the first thing we need to do for today's meeting, even though it's not a regular meeting, we have to take attendance. And Whit, I'm going to defer to you to do that if you don't mind.
Okay, roll call. I see that Daniel, are you here?
I'm present.
Irene, are you present?
Yes.
Philippe, are you present?
Present.
And Empress, are you present?
I am present.
And I am as well. So we have 5 attending and 1 absent currently.
Good. All right. Well, that constitutes a quorum. So Whit, if you have not already pressed record, please do so, recording to the cloud. And I, as the chair, I'll convene the meeting. This is an off-month meeting, and it's a fairly specific meeting today. And we are going to be focusing on basically 2 co-related or commingled items. The first is to assert what criteria we have been using or should use, and then in terms of moving toward nominations for awards from the Greenfield Human Rights Commission that will we plan to award them at our event on December 10th, which we'll hear about from, I hope, from Empress, where that's at. But the planning in last month's meeting, well, the earlier meeting, was to hold an open community-wide event on Saturday, December 10th at the Pushkin Gallery in Greenfield. And as part of that gathering, we would give awards to members of our community for their service regarding human rights. So that is the basic focus of this meeting. And our next meeting, just to say, will be on Monday, December 12th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. So having said that, I think maybe the first thing for context is if you could give us an up-to-date report, Empress, as to what has been done and what has been planned so far for the event that we hope to hold on December 10th.
Okay, so is this going to be, you want me to do part of the nominations as well, to give the list as well?
Well, no, let's just hear an up-to-date report of the kind of the framework and the structure. And then I want to talk about criteria before we get to nominations.
Okay, so basically, as we know, it's going to be for December 10th at the Pushkin. I spoke to Ben, so that date is open. I talked to Kristen at Stone Soup Cafe, who's going to donate refreshments and food to the event as well. Right now, because where everything is basically for the budget information, that's the only thing that's missing is the funds that I would like to go through now.
Okay.
Okay, so for the Pushkin, for everything, it would be $600.
Well, let me just confirm that our budget, the entire budget for the year, is $300.
Mm-hmm.
So unless we plan to raise anything beyond that, I don't know how we're going to be able to go forward with this event unless we get in-kind contributions.
Okay, well, I know the 300 that we have for the budget. Okay, then I was going to donate $100, and I know Whit said he was donating $100. And Irene said that the Child Advocacy Center, she was going to see if they could also put up $100. So that's the 600 right there for Pushkin.
Okay, all right, that's for the Pushkin, hopefully. Wonderful. And are there any other expenses that you think we will incur?
Yes, for the plaques, that's going to be done with the engraving done at Things Remembered. For the plaques, it would be between $200 and $250. Miscellaneous items would basically be like, I'm gonna try to see if Kristen has like plates and forks and stuff like that. So right now it's just basically like the plaques and engraving that we'll have to deal with. So like I said, that's 200 to 250.
And that's for one plaque, is that correct?
No, that would be for the 8.
Oh, 8 plaques, that's what you cost it out for?
Yes,
Oh, so we can have up to 8 plaques for that amount, I see.
yes. So
Uh-huh.
because there's 4 categories, that's why I wanted to put it all together, Daniel.
I
um,
see, I
So that
see.
you can get the full picture instead of giving piece by piece.
Okay, well, let's hold it there. You'll be
Okay.
able to get to that, but I just,
Okay.
one of the things that I just want to back up for a moment, and confusion because we were moving so fast in the November 14th meeting to try to get things done. One of the things that we scratched the surface on but did not confirm was what, if any, criteria we would have in the nominations process for awards. And the only one that was mentioned at that time was that anyone who is nominated must be a Greenfield resident. But we didn't do anything more than that. And normally when awards are made, there is some baseline criteria that the awarding group utilizes in discerning who to nominate. And so I'm hearing, without knowing the names at this point, from you, Empress, and I've heard 4 or 5 other names from other people, that I don't know what criteria those nominations were based on. So I feel like without having really dealt with this systematically, we're in a process now where perhaps anything goes. And I just want to make sure that these nominations are somewhat coherent because they're not a given. There's going to be many more names than there are awards available for. And I just want to make sure that our thinking is coherent so that the awards actually have something behind them. So I just want to open that up. And I know you have more to say on this, Empress, but I want to allow other people to think with us about what criteria we should be considering as we enter into a discussion of candidates. And I've realized that we should have done this last time, but we didn't. But I did say in the agenda that this would be an element in our agenda today. So does anyone have anything they'd like to bring up? I have a few, but I'll hold mine until others have spoken.
Yes, I do, Philippe.
Okay, Philippe, please.
Just really quickly, we have a plaque in Town Hall, in City Hall, and normally it would be one person that was selected, and they would get a small gold nameplate that would go on that plaque, and that plaque would display all of the people who had won the Human Rights Award. As far as the criteria, I don't have it with me right now because I just have my phone here. I wonder if that's part of our charter or are part of the town charter that lists that criteria.
So, and Wood, you can weigh in on this, but I do want to say that after you left the commission a few years ago, Philippe, Wood and I were serving then as now, and we came to understand that the criteria are the collective decision of the GHRC. There's nothing in the charter that stipulates anything about awards, whether they be given or not, how frequently and to how many people, and whatever the criteria are. So I think it really is up to us to determine that on a year-by-year basis. And so because we're only giving awards 1 year at a time, we have to figure that out just for 2022 at this point. But my understanding and my reading from the past is that it is our responsibility to discern what those criteria are. Do you have anything different? And first, Wid, do you have anything on that before we go to Irene?
No, that's the memory I have. There's 2 names on the plaque on the wall outside of the City Hall office. I think one was 2015 maybe, and one was 2012 perhaps. So there's plenty of room on that, but I think, I won't speak for Empress, but I assume she was envisioning plaques to hand to the person to have for a personal memento, which is different from the wall plaque.
Yes, Wid, that's why I said I had more information, because it would be 4 separate categories. And basically it'll be two people will be chosen at each category. Like the first category would be related to individuals. The second one would be related to community organizations. The third one would be related to youth collaboration and outreach. And the final one would be to cultural and the arts. So there's 4 different categories.
Well, thank you, Empress. That's really helpful, and we will dig in on that in just a moment. But Irene, I saw your hand go up just a moment ago.
Yeah, as I saw some of the emails with people recommending who could be nominated, I realized that what an important event this is. And I got a little nervous about trying to put it together so quickly. And that, it feels like if we're going to do it, we should really do it right. And I was trying to recall what was driving us to do it quickly. And I think it was just that December 10th date.
Well,
But other than that, I mean, to me, it seems like we could do a more cohesive event and really think about what the criteria is and do nominations. But I'm not sure that we can do it by December 10th and do it well. I mean, I totally admire Empress's energy and all she gets done, for sure. But it still leaves us with, a couple of weeks to really do a lot of advertising, to get people nominated, to really vet them, see who we want to nominate, and hold a function. So I'm just not sure why we're hurrying it, but.
Right. Well, thank you for that. And I think it was actually your suggestion about the idea of awards, Irene. But I think and we are trying to marry that to, or the thought was to try to marry that to the fact that December 10th is International Human Rights Day.
Right.
But I think we have to determine tonight if we have what we need in terms of guaranteed finances and even membership to attend the event on the 10th. I know I'm not available. I will be out of state. But leaving that alone, I want to make sure that, as you say, that it is an event that we can give good lead time to. We are now, simply 13 days away from that date. And that's a serious question. One thing we could do, and I just want to lay this out and then we'll give it over to Empress for a little more information, is we could announce at the December 10th gathering that we are going to give an award and build up the energy that way, rather than give the award or awards at that time. But again, any decisions that we make will have to be discerned at this meeting, especially if we're thinking about doing A, an event on December 10th, and B, giving awards at that event. So I think we really have to, come to an understanding in the next half hour or so, what we want to do. Let me just ask you, Empress, what the process was and who else was involved in coming to the idea of giving 4 different categories of awards. I mean, I assume you queried other folks on the commission so that it's a group decision, or is it just how did it come about?
This was a meeting. Basically, it was with Irene and Becky. If you remember from the last meeting, and it was Irene and Becky who was going to be partners. So we discussed the categories, and we all pulled names for the 4 categories of nominees.
Okay, all right. So okay, Whit, I see a hand up, and again, we're taking this piece by piece, but go ahead, Whit.
I'll just one option in 2019, Empress, when we were talking about this, people were talking about a paper citation. Sounds like the plaque for you, you're thinking about a wooden plaque or a metal plaque. Perhaps to save money, a paper citation might be an option to save on money for a plaque. Just an idea. In a plastic thing that would protect it, and a fancy paper, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, definitely. I was thinking about that too. So it doesn't necessarily have to be plaque or engraving, but we could definitely do, like you said, Wid, and just get, and just go and get like the award paper, and just have like, a paper award set up in a nice frame and just present it as well.
That's great. So those are options. And at any rate, it sounds like, Empress, your group has been pretty successful in at least raising the money needed for the rental of the pushkin to get to that $600 level. And then there would need to be some additional money, obviously, for plaques and such like that. And I would hope that maybe we would make a contribution to Stone Soup Cafe if they're going to volunteer the person power and the food. I know that they work with lots and lots of grants, but I would ask that we consider offering some kind of a financial gift to them for that help. And I know, as one of the chefs there, I know how hard the 60+ volunteers work. So I hope that that's something maybe you all didn't consider, but I would like to add that in, that is something that would feel important moving forward, that we not just lean on generosity and leave it at that.
Can I
At
just
any rate,
clarify? I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Empress, could you remind me of what time you were thinking on Saturday?
Yes, I'm sorry, Irene, 3 to 6.
Yeah, does that seem like a?
You froze on that, Irene. I'm sorry. We're holding on Irene's question, I think, at the moment.
I think she
Well-
was gonna ask if that was the best time, 3 to
Yes.
6 on Saturday. Sounds like that was gonna be her question.
Well, let
back.
me. Are you back, Irene? No. Let's query who's available between 3 and 6 on the 10th among the commissioners. Just because I think it would be important that we at least have a quorum of commissioners at such an event, especially if we're thinking about awards. Maybe less so if it's not an award ceremony. So, Wid, is that a day and time you're available?
Probably, I don't anticipate, but I think now we have the horse tripping over the cart and stuff. Because my question would be, well, if we're not going to have an award ceremony, do we want to spend all this money to have an event on Human Rights Day? I mean, we could meet in the town common for free for Human Rights Day if we wanted to. So now we have to decide,
Right.
A, are we going to have an award ceremony? B, if not, do we want to do the pushkin thing? Because that's a lot of money just to meet and greet.
Right.
I agree. If we're not gonna do an award ceremony, it doesn't make no sense to do anything at Pushkin.
Yeah.
So I agree
Well,
with it.
Okay, so that's the next question then, obviously. And again, I thank you, Irene, for bringing that forward, because there is, beyond the nominations and so on, there's vetting, there's writing out what the award is for and what the person's contributions are, if they're going to be available to be there to receive the award, and so on. And so, there's a fair amount, and I know that, Empress, you're capable of working at the speed of lightning, and that's fabulous. That really serves us well when you take something on like this and you do it, with such aplomb. But there are things that need to follow, and I just wonder if we really are capable of pulling this all together, giving the community enough advance notice for a good turnout, because, if we're going to spend that kind of money, I think we want more than 20 or 30 people there, unlike movie events and so on. So any thoughts on that? I mean, other than what we've heard so far, the concern, but where do people stand on whether we do an award ceremony December 10th or hold off on it and give more time for preparation?
Philippe, hand up.
Yep, Philippe, please.
Yeah, I think that it would be great if we had maybe even a couple of meetings devoted to vetting candidates, understanding all the criteria and all the categories, and really honor the work that's been done so far. I also think that, and this is unrelated to that particular issue, that you might perhaps ask the mayor's office if you need some help with budgeting a special event. I'm done.
Mhm. Okay, well taken. Well taken. Thank you. Anyone else want to speak to this? And you know, I also can include Becky because you served on this committee and you know, on this group, I should say. It's really not a subcommittee, but any thinking on this will help us, I think, and synergize where we go with this. So the floor is open.
Sure, I can add something. I
Please
mean,
do.
I'm available on the 10th, and I have a lot of experience doing events, so I would be happy to do that if that ends up being what's decided. But you know, it does seem like it makes sense to have more conversations about, you know, Empress and I and Irene, we talked about this, you know, and I think it would be good to talk more about adding different community members. And I think that like maybe other people join to maybe suggest some people. So I think that would be good to have some time. I think the idea was sort of like a holiday thing to do it, you know, a meet and greet. So I don't know when we would consider doing it, maybe January when things are slower after the holiday season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Valentine's Day.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
I only say that because at work, we did this thing for a few years for equality. We had an equality type of luncheon at work on the 14th to kind of, you know, use the 14th instead of romance, just for companionship and being together and discussing things. So, you know, I just throw that out there as something to think about. Also, some of my suggestions might depend on who the nominations are, because that might throw, depending on who the people involved are, that might widen the field of opportunities to use different venues, depending on who the nominees are.
Mhm.
For example, we could use, if some nominee was involved in something, but they had the forum or they had the physical space, we could use their space perhaps as part of the award ceremony.
Mhm. Yep, yep. Good thinking this far. And let's see, Empress, do you have any thoughts as another commissioner on whether we are better off waiting a little bit and working this through as a commission? And as Becky suggested, maybe adding some community members to help us think about this. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because you've already you and your group have put in the most time.
Exactly. That's my only concern, because I've already set it up with Ben. He already booked the date. I already set it up with Kirsten. She already got the menu together. So it's just because of how much footwork I've already put into it. But that's fine. I'll just make calls tomorrow. I'm just like, from the last meeting, I'm a go-getter. And when there's something to be done, I'm gonna get it done. So it's just like now just having to go back and just like, just to re-go over my tracks again and just cancel it, but like I said, whatever the commission said is definitely fine.
Okay.
Well, think of it as a reschedule, not a cancel.
I know, because Kirsten is a very good friend of mine, that in some ways she might be hugely relieved that there's not another event packed in, given Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and other events that she is catering through the cafe.
Well, actually, Kirsten, she signed up for it because she wanted to be part of it. So it wasn't really something that was a extra. She definitely wanted to be part of something like that.
Yeah, well, I have to assume that she would want to be part of it on another date as well, if she wanted to be part of this one. But be that as it may, I mean, I'm wondering, it seems like the sentiment from what I've heard, and we'll bring it to a vote in just a minute, but I'm sensing that the sentiment is to give it a little bit more time and be more thoughtful and deliberative, especially with the introduction of possibly 4 different categories and the time for nominations to come in, because as much work as you all did, there are probably several more nominations. And we really need to discern those a little bit more thoroughly.
Philippe,
Sorry, Philippe, go ahead.
yeah, just quickly, I feel like they were just selected and maybe even nominated by the public. But I think it would be a good thing for the commissioners each to have 1 nomination or 2 nominations themselves based on public research of people who've done things like that and who will fit into the criteria. So we have to have a criteria, and then we have to speak, as well as to get nominations from the public.
All right, so thank you. So let's bring this part to a vote. And then I think what we need to do is back up a little bit and spend a little time. I have a list of 5 different criteria that I would like to offer for discussion. But let's just take a moment to take a deep breath here and vote on whether or not we should. I guess this would mean asking Empress again to talk with both Ben Goldshire and Kirsten Levitt about backing it up and taking a little more time and postponing. So I can't do this by hand because 2 of the 5 of us are not visual. So Whit, would you mind just leading us in a vote of the motion I'm making, and I hope someone will second, is that we postpone to a later date to be decided the awards ceremony to be held, sponsored by the Greenfield Human Rights Commission, and without a decision as to a specific date at this time. So that's my motion, and it needs a second if it's going to go forward.
I second that.
Okay, thank you, Irene. So is there any discussion on the motion, or shall we go ahead to a vote?
I just want to say thank you very much to Irene, Empress, and Becky for doing the groundwork, for setting all this up. And just so you know, this is not new to the HRC. We're always on the 50-yard line trying to score a touchdown with a flat ball. And so we get very excited and we get very, and then we get to the point where it's do or die time, and we realize we don't have all the tools to do the best thing. So but I want, before I make the vote, I just want to let you know that I really appreciate all the work you guys have put into this and all the effort. But if we're going to do it, we want to do it right.
Thank you, Whit. Thank you. And I want to just second Whit's comments. And I know you've already put in hours of time and thought and consideration, and that won't be lost. In the end, I think that's going to strengthen our whole process going forward, both for this year and I hope for the future. So any other, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but can I just jump in real quick, Daniel?
Yeah, we're still in discussion of the motion. Yeah.
Okay, but for any future events, because come January, I'm planning for Juneteenth, so I really can't be involved in any planning, because I already have my schedule for Juneteenth and getting that, situated. So
let me just ask you about that. Sorry to go off target for a moment, but are you planning to do that event as a solo volunteer, or are you planning to do it under the auspices of the Human Rights Commission? I'm just wondering what your thinking is going forward in terms of person power.
no, I'm doing it the same way I did it this year as an individual.
As an individual, okay. I think that will be helpful for us to know, if others want to add into this effort in your absence if we decide to defer. But it sounds like if we do defer, you won't be part of the planning from this point forward. Still in discussion. Yeah.
Well, not that I won't be part of the planning, but I really can't get too involved, especially if it's in January, because I already started setting up meetings for January for Juneteenth. So I don't want to overboggle myself or take away from the award ceremony, because I can't really be 100% committed to that.
Okay, thank you. Wid? Go ahead.
Well, I want to make a friendly amendment to your motion, Daniel. I would make a motion that we hold our award ceremony on June 13th.
June 13th, did you say?
Can we
Yeah,
just-
Juneteenth, on Juneteenth.
Oh, June
June
19th.
19th.
Can we
That's
just
fine.
can we just have the vote and then have side conversations? I think there's a vote pending there. Could we just vote on that?
Well, it does say a date to be decided. So Wid, would you be okay if we just tabled that for a moment? Because it's,
Sure. I withdraw the friendly amendment.
okay, thanks. And we will, obviously, we have to recycle back to that. So the motion has been seconded and we've had discussion. And just to be overly formal about it, Whit, I'll just ask you to have commissioners vote on the motion.
Daniel, what's your vote?
I vote that we hold for a later date.
Irene,
Hold for a later date.
Philippe,
Hold.
Empress,
Hold.
so what do we need for a quorum? 4 or 5?
We need 5, but we need your vote too, Whit.
So I can't abstain.
No, you can abstain. That's still 5 votes, but it.
Okay, for a thank you for Empress and Becky's and Irene's hard work, I'm gonna abstain.
Mhm. Okay, well, then it still passes 4-0-1. We just needed 5 votes to have a quorum, but the majority of those who voted to hold off. So the moments will reflect, I think, the hard work that's been put into this point. And we will raise this again at our meeting in 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks from tomorrow. It'll be a primary agenda item and we'll continue to work on it going forward. However, I would like to, with people's permission, I would like to put up front some criteria for nominations. And I think that this will make the process more coherent and also give us, a way of benchmarking why some people are being nominated and, allow us to share those criteria publicly moving forward. And so I just want to put them all out together and then we can discuss them as well, or we can decide to table it to December. One is that any nominations should be Greenfield residents living in Greenfield currently. Second, and these are suggestions, that the individual or individuals should be doing human rights work as volunteers, not in professional capacities, and that they should be receiving no remunerative benefits for this work. Third, that they must not currently be or have been a GHRC commissioner within the past year. Fourth, that they demonstrate consistent volunteer work over time, rather than a one-time or infrequent contribution, something more like a lifetime achievement award. And fifth, that they hopefully will not have received other public accolades or distinctions for this work over the past year from other organizations. So that's, that's a whole lot there. It's a big stone soup, if you will, of things that I was thinking about. And I'm certainly open to a discussion on them and wherever this goes. But I just wanted to put that forward as a starting point for criteria for nominations. And my question is, since it's already 4:42 p.m. and we don't want this going on too much longer, one suggestion could be to table this to the December meeting, in which case I would put this, which is already on paper, out to all commissioners for consideration. So I want to just open up the floor to anyone's thoughts and comments.
Yes, can we table it till December?
Okay. Do you want to make that as a motion then?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. And Irene, do you want to follow that up with something? No. Okay.
No.
All right. So
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah, go ahead, Whit. Mhm.
Empress, do you see any deal stoppers in the list of names you have based on that criteria?
Well, that's discussing it.
I mean, I don't really think that that's relevant respectfully right now with,
Okay,
you know, because, you know, we're going a whole different way now. So
Okay.
it's, you know, I'm just gonna just discard that list. So it doesn't even.
oh, don't discard it. Don't discard it, keep it.
Yeah, please remember, this is just coming from my head. It's just discussion. And I'm not trying to impose a decision on the group. I just wanted to offer some criteria for us to think about. And if it gets tabled, I'm fine with that till the next meeting. That's so I don't want you thinking, Empress, please, that your work is being disregarded, not in any way, shape, or form. I don't even know who the nominees are. So this was a totally objective list that I put together without thinking about anybody. So I just want to be clear, you know, you may have some great folks in there. But I don't think it's time yet
It'd
to
be
share
great.
those names. Irene?
I think we were tabling this for December and then somehow we break off into conversation, so.
Well, we didn't make, well, no, that's not true. We made, there was a motion made. We haven't voted on the
Right.
motion yet. So this is the discussion of the motion.
Right.
Okay.
So this is, so we're not going off on a tangent. I just want to make sure that's why I asked the question to Empress to see where she was standing as far as the nominees go. Because I don't want her to throw the list out and start all over. That's why I asked the question.
Right. We are going to come to a
Leave
vote.
hand.
Yeah, just, you know, as much as I'm not a big fan of Robert's rules, and I just as soon call them Bobby's rules, if we don't follow them, then, well, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. So anyway, for what it's worth, then, unless there's more discussion on the motion, which has been seconded, which is just basically to table a discussion of criteria to December, then we'll go to a vote. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Philippe, hand up.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be great to see the sum total of all the nominations that we've gotten so far in the next meeting. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So let's go to a vote then of tabling the discussion about criteria for consideration of awards nominations, holding that off till December 12th. Would you give me a juice break? So if you could take the votes. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Irene, are you in favor of tabling the criteria discussion until the December meeting?
Yes,
Philippe,
Yes.
Empress,
Yes, I'm sorry. Did you hear me, Wid? I'm sorry. I
I
said yes.
know I did that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Daniel,
Yes, I'm in favor of tabling.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, great. Well, that vote passes 4-0-1. So we will table that discussion. Pursuant to that, I will send around to all commissioners these 5 criteria as a suggestion, as a recommendation only for discussion. I do not want people to be feeling like they're coerced into this, or that I'm using the chair as a bully pulpit in any way, shape, or form. But this is just to get the discussion going. So with that in mind, I think we've agreed to table that discussion. We've also voted then to hold off on doing an awards ceremony and therefore an event on December 10th. And we will come back to all of this in our regularly scheduled December meeting. Let me just go around and see if there are any other thoughts about this before we entertain adjournment. Any comments, questions, thoughts, reactions, responses?
Any input from the public? Includes you, Becky. Any input from the public who are listening in this meeting, just so we can have your objective viewpoint from afar? Ryan or Stephanie or Becky?
I could say something, just, I mean, as somebody who's already put some time into it, I guess. I wish this conversation had happened before we had done that, and I feel disappointed that Empress won't be able to be involved, because I think she's really good at doing events and conceptualizing of that, and also has a lot of contacts. So I am disappointed just in sort of that process. So that's, yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Becky. And again, I don't want to sound like an echo chamber, but I agree with what you've said. I do, and I share the same disappointment. We're learning about our process all the time. Stephanie, I think you have a hand up, so please go ahead.
Hi. I'm not sure if you can actually hear me.
Pretty much. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a little difficult in the area that I'm at. My concern is Stone Soup serves the community on a regular basis on Saturdays, so I would just be mindful that they may need that staff that would be preparing for the meals during that time frame for either cleanup or throughout the community meals time frame. The other thing is will the guidelines or for the nominations be posted on the Human Rights Commission website?
Stephanie, if I heard you correctly, the last part of your statement was a question about whether the names for nominations would be posted on the website. Is that correct?
I was wondering if the criteria would be put on the website in case the public would also like to nominate, some unsung heroes that maybe people don't know about.
My own personal response is let's discuss that at the next meeting. When we've had time to digest all that we've been processing today and consider that as a question going forward. I don't know what other people think about that, but I think at this point, there are a lot of things that we need to reflect on going forward. And yours is one of many questions that I think we should take up in fuller discussion next time. Anyone have another response to that?
Yeah, kind of. Stephanie, it's gonna be a logistical issue too. We can't post the names until we've actually asked the people if they'd be willing to receive it, all that sort of stuff. So some of it's just gonna be determining how the process is gonna work. But I would think that once we know who the nominations are, we voted on them, and the individual accepted them, then I would think we would be good to go as far as releasing to the public those names.
Stephanie, is your hand?
I was concerned about the publication of the name on the website as more about what the criteria is going to be for the nominees in the event that there are people from the community that would also like to nominate people within our city.
Oh, I understand. So you're saying we should have a nomination process, publicize it with the criteria, and allow people to submit names by a closing date.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's a great question, first of all. And I think if we do open it up to the public, we are looking at a much longer time frame. I'm not objecting to that. I just think we have to, if we're going to do that, we have to post it, and we probably have to post it for a minimum of 30 days. And then there has to be a group. I don't want to call it a subcommittee because that is a mess at this point with open meeting laws. But there would have to be a group then that would be working through the nominations to then recommend to the full commission to vote. So that's something that we would need to think about. And I do think that, like I say, Stephanie, it's a great question. I'd like to table that till next month. And
Thank you
allow
for letting
people
me
to think
speak.
about it. Hmm?
So thank you for letting me speak.
Okay, you're welcome. So we will add that to the lengthy agenda on this topic. Are there any other discussion items before considering adjournment? I don't want to rush people. Okay, well then 7-second rule, and let me just ask if there's someone here one of the commissioners who would like to make a motion for adjournment of today's special meeting.
I motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, okay. We'll bring that to a vote. Whit, do you want to walk us through for one more time today? Please.
Daniel, are you up for adjournment?
I would vote to adjourn as of now, yes.
Irene,
Yes.
Philippe,
Yes.
Empress,
Yes.
and I vote no.
Wow, Whit. You got a touch of the contrarian in you today, huh?
Well, I just want, just so, especially the public and Becky and Empress and Irene know that we really appreciate all the work that's being put into this and the effort. And so I would be happy to spend 3 more hours talking about this, but I know we just have to think about it for a few weeks and revisit it on on our meeting on December 12th. But I just want to again, thank you for all you've been doing.
All
Thank you,
righty.
Whit.
Well, again, with appreciation and admiration for what the three of you have put together so far, and that we look forward to hearing more from the work that's been done to this point. We will go ahead and close today's meeting, and we will meet again 2 weeks from tomorrow, Monday, December 12th, 6 p.m. on Zoom. And I would just like to say to all the commissioners that if you have other agenda items, whether it's on this or anything else, please get them to me no later than next Sunday, okay? So that I have time to put things together before the meeting on the 12th. So that would be the deadline for agenda items, would be Sunday, December 4th. Thanks so much, and we'll sign off now. I wish everyone safety and health, and all the best.